Gohar, are you drinking a beer?
What?
Oh, we thought
It's,
San Pellegrino. Okay.
Oh, hell yeah.
Great. We're in the right conversation here.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
How many music professionals does it take to work a
Sky.
skate night?
All right. What about now? Can you hear us both now?
Yeah.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello.
What's up?
Oh,
even
success.
better.
Welcome to Unmastered. I'm
Yeah,
Emma.
And I'm Gohar.
We are uncut and on the record with your favorite bands. I haven't said that intro in at least 6 months, and I almost forgot it
Oh no.
because this is the first time me and Gohar have done a podcast interview in almost 6 months
Together.
because I moved to San Francisco
Mhm.
and she still lives in LA.
That's true.
And I just happened to be home on break, so we were able to do it together. So thanks for being available. First interview of first interview of 2020. Heyo.
But yeah, thanks for having us, guys. Thank you.
Of course. So we like to do a little bit of icebreaker advice in our ramblings, but we're just gonna ask you some questions, and you're gonna answer them to the best of your ability. So first off, what's your name? What do you play? If you were a crayon, what color would you be and why? And then the answer everyone wants to know: tea or coffee?
I'm gonna jump in real quick. Today we're talking with Twin Tides.
Oh yeah, sorry. We did totally skipped by that one. Yes.
That's okay.
Just so that everybody is aware of who we're speaking to today.
See, I just feel like I'm talking to friends now. It's fine.
We are friends.
Well,
so
let's break
cool.
the ice in that case. All right.
Yeah. Mark, you go first, dude.
All right. My name's Mark, and I play guitar and some keys and synth sounds that produce some of the songs. We'll get more into that later. We all kind of work together. It's different, bring different traits to the table. But yeah, I'm Mark, and this is.
Well, no, you're crayon, dude.
Oh, okay. If I was a color crayon, I think I wanted to call it cloud or silver, but I think it's just called gray. But I loved it so much that I felt like I had a more epic name than that. So, yeah, gray crayon.
We'll call it cloud.
I like the cloud Crayola crayon.
Okay.
And the last, what was the last question?
Wait, you didn't answer why. Why
Why
gray?
would you be gray?
Why cloud? Why rain?
Oh, I like monotone type of colors when it comes to
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when you're using a crayon. So that's all what I went to for my go through. That was my fall through plan when I was coloring things. But I don't know. It's like you have a favorite color and you don't know why. It's just what you just thought of it when you were younger and you just kind of stick with it. That's what it's been.
So gray's been your favorite color since you were like 3?
Yeah, gray and black. Used to be gothic. I still am.
I mean, he has a point. Gray it's a good color to have as your favorite color because it's very neutral. You can't go wrong.
Yes. Thank
Well,
you
there
for
we
saving
go.
me right there.
You're welcome. Anytime.
Yeah.
If purple wasn't my favorite color, it would be gray.
All right, so we have that final question for you.
Okay.
No, come on. You gotta let me.
What about the tea or coffee, man?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry.
I didn't have my notepad on me. I apologize.
Someone on their phone for 2 seconds.
I just
totally
go to
missed
straight
what was
douche
happening.
mode. And I'm like, no, my turn.
That's okay. Tea or coffee. However, I mean, I go back and forth because sometimes you're feeling like sick and stuff, then you roll with tea most of the time. But coffee for sure is nice, but it dehydrates you a lot when you sing, so gotta go with tea.
Does it really?
Oh.
Yeah, I mean it's got caffeine. I mean, I guess if it's decaf, but
Wait, does caffeine
caffeine.
dehydrate you?
Good. It can, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Wow.
And sugar, the sugar that's in it as well. I mean,
But
But-
it's even really coffee if it doesn't have caffeine in it.
I mean, it's, yeah.
We're
I
learning
mean, I had a
some-
vocal teacher that told me all the stuff that sticks to your throat, all this great stuff that make you think about when you're singing.
The only thing I think about
Interesting.
when I'm singing is I don't want to sing anymore.
No, but coffee makes me, I don't know, it makes you awake. So, I mean, I'm sure there's some teas out there with a little boost of caffeine, but I just like
Most
coffee
tea
to
has
wake you up.
caffeine.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Tea
wait,
has-
doesn't most tea have caffeine in it?
It does.
But
Black
if you
tea,
compare
green
the levels of caffeine between tea and coffee is
Sure, but then you can have matcha.
Let's get a mixologist.
Oh,
on.
matcha. I need to take notes. You said,
Okay, you
is
don't
that?
know what matcha is?
Do you recommend it?
Whoa,
Yes,
wait, you don't know what
absolutely.
matcha is? What?
Okay, so
Huh?
matcha is a type of green tea that isn't, brewed normally, but it
Okay.
is freeze dried in a sense, and then they grind up the leaves so it has a bright green color, and you essentially make it similar to how you make espressos. So you would just mix it in with water. You could take it as a shot, or I personally like to have it as a latte. So it's very, very strong and bitter. So when you have it,
absolutely
yeah, it
That
no,
sounds-
they're
That
not.
sounds interesting to me. Yeah.
My
keep going.
favorite way to have it is with a little bit of sugar and a tiny bit of vanilla. Sorry, if you have a Starbucks nearby, go ask for a matcha
Uh-huh.
latte and test it out because it's one of the best things, and it has like 10 times the longevity of an espresso does.
As far as caffeine goes,
Yeah,
that sounds like a panic attack to me.
You know, it definitely
No.
is a panic attack.
I
for
don't
me. I
sleep,
personally
Certain people.
cannot drink too much caffeine, but she is like
Yeah.
a beast over here.
I don't sleep. I've in the
I
past
feel you
2
on that.
years, so I think it has to do. I think it has to do with matcha, but we'll see. It tastes good. In my opinion, tastes better than coffee. So
Oh wow.
Okay. I'm definitely gonna. I promise you, I will give that a try. Thank you.
And,
each their
and
own.
I promise you that I
Yeah.
will not.
I will try that. Yeah.
yeah, give it a shot.
Hey, no pun
All right.
intended. Nice one.
Hey!
Ah. Okay, so
Well, thank you. So now hopping over to you.
yeah,
So,
my name is Joel, and
Yes.
I sing and play limited instruments in the band. And by limited, I mean that really I just play like basic chords on the piano if I do play. Because Mark produces most of it, and that's great for me because I've been in bands before where I was like the primary songwriter and the primary like I would just write the song through chords on my piano, and I got really burned out with it because I did that for years. And so in Twins Hides, it's really refreshing because Mark takes a lot off of me in terms of that. So yeah, that's great. But yeah, my main duty is dead guy duty. It's Nacho Libre. My main duty is singing, and I said duty.
That's what we were laughing about.
Yeah, oh, I know.
he's like, I did it on purpose.
My favorite, if I were a Crayola, if I were a
Really Crayola.
oh, okay, if I were a crayon color, we'll broaden it. If I were a color of crayon, it would most definitely be blue.
Okay.
Aw, what color blue? Like what shade of blue?
Like when you roll the crayon over and you read the label, and the label just says blue.
So like a royal blue.
So like a royally blue.
No. Royal blue is way darker than regular blue. Royal blue is darker than navy blue.
Can
Are
you-
we talking like
maybe like the color?
I'm wearing a lot of blue. I'm wearing denim. I just showed you my post-it note. I've also got this guy.
That's
nice.
that's like a baby blue.
So if it wasn't clear
So
that
just classic blue.
if it wasn't clear that I like purple and Emma likes blue. Yes. So
Oh, cool.
yes. So interesting. If we search blue, but like
Yeah.
the Crayola blue, that's the
Yeah,
crayon.
no. If you just did a simple Google search of
I'm curious now.
Crayola blue, that is my all-time favorite color.
Everyone, please take this 5-second break.
Oh, maybe
to
this
Google-
blue.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You know what? That's
There
great. Also, I order so
Yeah.
much stuff from them, so let's give Sweetwater a shout out.
I
I do
I
love-
just
yeah.
showed my Sweetwater sticker that I have on my not my wannabe hydro flask, but
That's
not a
actually-
hydro
yeah.
flask,
Just as well.
That's cool to think about. It's like sweet water and water's actually in it. I think that's smart. That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's
Put some
all of
sugar in
my
your water.
it's all of my tour stickers.
Wow, I can see
Awesome.
Yep.
How
Very
far
cool.
how far out east have you been?
I have been all the way to New York. All the way.
Awesome.
All the
Okay.
way.
How far
Good
southeast have you been?
Well,
Even
I
better
was
question.
on another tour where we played Purgatory or Hell
At the
Masquerade.
Masquerade in
Whoa.
Atlanta.
I can't remember which one it was. I think it was Purgatory.
Okay,
Cool.
yeah, no, that makes sense. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
that recent?
Yes, that was back in November, so we're in January, so 2 months ago.
Yeah, cool.
Not
So
even-
that was where that's post Masquerade move.
Oh, they moved.
Oh my
Oh.
gosh, man. Like the Masquerade used to be in this industrial type of like warehouse building thing that
Whoa.
it was off of the Beltline. So like were you in Atlanta for long?
No, we literally woke up in the behind the venue in the tour bus,
Okay.
played the show, and away we went.
Okay,
Oh,
gotcha.
wow.
Okay, so like what's crazy is it's off of Ponce Avenue, Ponce whatever. Yeah, Ponce. Which is the road name. And the Masquerade used to be off Ponce, which was this like super rundown part of Atlanta. And it was like kind of the more dangerous part. And there was this like strange building, but it had been several different factories over the last like 150 years. And
wow.
then it eventually became the Masquerade. And so like you would be in heaven, which was like the main venue
Mhm.
up top, and you could like literally feel the floor shaking. If you were playing in hell, which was downstairs, or if you were in heaven and you heard a band playing in hell, it would come through the floorboard. So like in between songs
Ooh.
in heaven, you could hear the bands from hell playing. It was a really like creepy old place, but now you would never know that because in the past few years there's this big renovation of that side of the city, and they built this marketplace called
Yeah.
Ponce City Market out of like this old factory right next to where the Masquerade was, and they completely turned it into like this crazy like up and coming young couple
Yeah.
part of Atlanta.
It's so weird because like the way it is now is I think I don't remember exactly, but Purgatory and I think Heaven are in the same like building, and then Hell's across the street or something like that.
Yeah.
Huh.
Or
It's
like
in
across the way.
so it's
like,
called Underground Atlanta, or it used to be called Underground Atlanta, which like Coca-Cola, because Coca-Cola is like an Atlanta thing, but Coca-Cola used to have this big thing in Underground Atlanta. But like it's really cool now because you can kind of go hang out in this like common area. If you're watching a show in hell, if you're watching a show in purgatory, and if you're watching a show in heaven, everyone from all three different rooms can like come out into this common space, and you can like take your drinks out there. You can kind of hang out. But before it was like, if you were playing in purgatory, you were completely separate from heaven and hell. And if you were playing in heaven, you had a separate entrance from hell. And if you were in hell, you had a separate entrance. So like now they're all separate rooms in different buildings, but all connected. So it's really kind of cool what they've done.
Yeah,
But
it was really interesting to see it, and like the craziest thing was I think there was like a rap show going on in Heaven the same day that we were playing like a rock show in Purgatory. So it was really funny to like the load in and load out of Purgatory is so insane because we had like the tour bus, and then the way I don't understand the structure of the building, but you essentially are going along this like industrial type hallway,
right.
and it wraps around the main like like heaven room. It
Right.
wraps around, and then like I think from what I remember, it's like a I don't know, like an eighth of a mile or some weird like percentage of a mile from where the tour bus parks to the actual load in, and we were
Right.
doing really interesting to see the layout of
Yeah.
it. And then
Yeah,
I
yeah,
got yeah, they were nice enough to let me go across the way and look at heaven across because I was really intrigued by it because I'd like advanced shows for there before and I'd never actually seen it. So to actually see a place that you'd advance the show for, it was always really exciting for me.
yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
they let me in there and I was like, this is so cool. Oh my God. And they were hiring and I was like, should I move to Georgia? Like,
Yo, you should totally move to Georgia. Georgia's the shit, man.
yeah, I honestly like. I know we're kind of jumping ahead. Do you care if we know if you like tea or coffee?
Oh, you know what? So like I'm from Georgia, and so like when I think of tea, I only think of sweet tea, which is like super. My mom makes it in a batch gallon, or a gallon batch. Sorry, wine. She makes it like a gallon at a time, and it's 2 full cups of sugar and
Oh my
three and
For a gallon.
yeah, 2 cups of sugar for a gallon and 2 or 3, I think 3 tea bags. No wait, no, 6 tea bags. So it's really
That
strong.
sounds very, very little. 3 tea bags?
No, yeah, it's
Six tea bags.
6 tea bags. I haven't made it in a long time because I gave up sweet tea a few years ago, and so my answer now is coffee.
Coffee. I knew that one of the icebreaker questions had to be tea related because if you're from the South, you're into sweet tea.
Now I
Yes.
really want to try sweet tea from the South.
Well,
And
you can't
now
just
I'm
go to a
slightly
restaurant.
Now I'm slightly mad at you for giving it up.
Well, no, like if you come to the South and you want to try sweet tea, you can't just go to like a normal restaurant. You have to go to someone's house.
Mm-hmm.
So next time I'm in Georgia, I'm gonna hit you up, and your mother's gonna make me sweet tea.
Let's go. Yeah, I don't live with my parents anymore, but I will make you some sweet tea.
Sounds like a great plan.
Yeah, heck yeah, I'm down
want to
for it.
try this. Oh my
Yeah.
god. Okay.
It's
So
good.
I guess growing. So did both of you grow up in Georgia, or just you?
I actually grew up in Orange County, California,
Oh,
And,
wait, where?
yeah. near Yorba Linda in Anaheim.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm from Chino Hills.
Oh, awesome! Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm from Chino Hills. I know all that. How far were you from like Disneyland?
Only like 25 minutes, 30 minutes.
There you go. We love it.
Yeah,
I'm
right off the
super
Imperial
bored
Highway.
again.
Oh hell yeah!
No, that's awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay, so you're from. So when did you move to Georgia then?
That's a great question.
It was 2006, so I was 15. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Wait. So why'd you end up moving to Georgia?
Basically, of course, like rent and stuff out there. Well, I was 15, so I wasn't paying for anything, but rent from my parents was very expensive. And then I have 3 older brothers, and one of them was in the military, and it was much cheaper while he was out here in Georgia training.
Mm-hmm.
So he recommended we make the move, so we had to. So yeah. But I still have a lot of friends out and like towards LA and Anaheim and everything still. So try to stay in touch as best as I can. But side note to the tea thing, I like whenever I think of tea, I think of Arizona tea, like the iced tea. So when I came out to Georgia, out to and had sweet tea, I was like, what the hell? So have you ever had sweet tea?
Yeah, I have.
I don't think I have.
Okay, well, my opinion, are you from California? Like born and raised?
Yeah, we're both
Okay,
born here.
well, my opinion, I think, or my guess is I don't think you're going to like sweet tea. So let me know if you, stay in contact and let me know what you think of sweet tea. And I'll let you guys know what I think of matcha.
Wait, why is sweet tea like?
It took me a while. It didn't taste, it didn't taste what I thought it was going to taste like.
It doesn't
when you're used to
like tea anymore.
If you've ever had Arizona iced tea, it was nothing like, I don't know.
Really?
And if you ask for iced tea out here, they'll just put ice in it with no sugar.
Yeah, okay, so sweet tea is different from other types of tea because other types of tea are very mild in flavor. They're not as heavily concentrated, And because they make sweet tea with so many tea bags, they compensate by putting all this extra sugar in it, so you barely even taste the tea part of it.
I'm very
Oh yeah,
intrigued
it's
by
just
this.
sugar. It's just brown sugar water.
It is brown sugar water.
I mean, I have a really big sweet tooth.
so imagine
Oh,
Kool-Aid
Oh,
okay.
without
you'll
flavor.
love it then.
Okay, because I love.
I'm curious.
It's I'm really curious now too.
Yeah.
Oh wait, I'm going. Do they make sweet tea in New Orleans?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
I'm going to
hell
Mardi
yeah.
Gras. I'm going to Mardi Gras, so I'll try it when I'm there.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, do that.
Okay, so you're from Orange County, and
Yeah.
you
Jo-
grew up
Joel.
in
It's from Atlanta.
where you
No,
from?
no,
What
no.
part of
I
Georgia?
grew up in Northeast Georgia, where we are right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I grew up in a little town called Clarksville. We moved here from the Metro Atlanta area when I was like 5. But this is all I know really. Like I don't remember much about that. And so yeah, it's like mountains, rolling hills, lots of pastures, lots of chicken houses. I actually
We're
live
learning-
Yeah, no, dude, Georgia's awesome because Georgia has beaches, mountains, plains, canyons.
Hold on. Beaches, not peaches, right?
Well, we also do have peaches. Actually, my dog's name is Peaches.
My brother went to Georgia as part of his marching band to play for Jimmy Carter.
Wow, that's cool.
Insane.
That's awesome.
Jimmy
Why is that funny?
Yeah, why is that funny? That
I
man
don't-
does not die. I swear to God.
Yeah,
He's been
no,
on his
it's
deathbed
funny
for
because
years.
like my knowledge of Jimmy Carter, other than like the basic knowledge that everyone in the United States knows, is just road names. So like you get the closer you get to Atlanta, like there are dozens of roads called Jimmy Carter Boulevard, Jimmy Carter.
Ah.
It's like it's just roads, but he doesn't really. I don't know. Jimmy Carter and I don't run in the same circles at all.
Of course not. No, so my high school, it's a private high school here in Panorama City. It's called St. Genevieve High School, and their music program got the attention of the Carters a few years before I started going to school there, and all the way up until my brother went to school until like the year 2016. Like my high school regularly went to Georgia to put on musicals and play music for Jimmy Carter and his family. And it's the strangest thing. I don't know why they like my high school so much. But he has t-shirts about peanuts and peaches, and he has a poster of Jimmy Carter on his bedroom door. Have you seen it?
No.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
very
so strange. I feel like that's a really old school southeastern thing, is to invite some West Coasters over to play music for you because you're like, oh, they're from California. We'll get them to come play some music for us.
And that's how he found me.
Probably
On the
what
way.
happened. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know what the world's obsession is with LA and like California. Like, you go to places in Europe and they're like, oh my God, you're from California. Oh my God, you're from LA. Like, it's the
Not that big of a deal.
strangest
It's
thing.
disgusting.
Yeah, no, honestly.
When I went to LA last year, I was like, it's just like organized camping. There's just tents everywhere.
You need to get in contact with us next time you're here, please.
Yeah, because like I moved up to San Francisco and I was like, this feels worse than Los Angeles. So
Really?
Yeah. Oh my God, it's so bad up there. So bad. There's no organized camping as much because there's not as many like underpasses. Because when you're in Los Angeles, people will camp out under underpasses and overpasses and whatever the heck it's called. But in San Francisco, there aren't as many like freeways as they are in Los Angeles.
That makes sense.
Place for like concentration. So all the concentration just happens like on the street in downtown, and it's really like intense and
Yeah.
slightly overwhelming. So when I come back to LA after being in San Francisco, I'm like, oh, this feels so much better. Like, not to make light of the situation, but like, yeah, it's definitely really interesting.
I think it also has to do with the compactness of Los Angeles. It's more widespread, and places like New York and San Francisco, they're more things are happening in a smaller space.
Yeah. Good point.
Maybe that's why also.
There's also not a whole lot of vegetation in Los Angeles. Like, it's not as like woodsy or so there's like for
It
like
is-
the Atlantic, for example, like Atlanta's called like the like the city in the forest or woods or something. I don't know. But like a lot of our homeless people just hang out in the woods around the city. So you don't really see them as much.
Oh, that's interesting. Huh.
I mean, we got a
don't have
shit
that
ton.
much
Don't get me
don't
wrong.
I have no knowledge right now about.
He's like, I don't know what's going on. I'm just gonna sit here and drink my wine. Drink dragon's blood.
Hey, I think we should maybe talk about some music.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Music.
So I guess music scene.
Yeah, because we're only familiar with.
We only know like Atlanta.
scene.
As much as I know about the, I believe there's some hip hop presence, and then the Masquerade. That's all I really know. You guys.
So like Georgia's really weird because essentially all that we really have is Atlanta. Which is strange because like we have Macon, Georgia, which is like where the Music Hall of Fame is. But there's not a lot going on there. It used to be the capital of Georgia. It's not anymore. So like I could see how it could have like been rooted there, but now there's really not much going on in Macon at all. So Atlanta is like the hub, and if you want to play a show, if you want to reach out to people, you have to go to Atlanta because where we're from, there's nothing. We have we have bars and we have like little pubs. But if you're in a pop band like us, you don't go to those because you don't play country music. If you don't play country music outside of Atlanta, then you're seriously screwed. You're not gonna make anything, and people are gonna call you all sorts of names, and they're just not gonna feel it as much. So you got to go to Atlanta. Atlanta's where it happens, and that's where the scene for all of music in Georgia lives.
Not necessarily lives, but goes to perform.
Yeah.
So how far are you guys from Atlanta?
About an hour 20.
Yeah.
Hour and a half.
Wow.
So is it hard having to like play? I mean, far from where you guys live. I mean, like I know an hour commute is nothing for us here in LA. It's like to be expected, but
Yeah,
like,
that's how it's
hard.
kind of the same. I don't, at least for me, like we don't live right next door to each other, but we both live the same amount of distance from Atlanta, pretty much. So whenever I have to go somewhere, it's typically either if it's close to the house, it's 20 minutes still, like no lie. But if I like go play a gig or something, then it's going to be an hour away. So I have to. It's usually always an hour. So I expect it. We kind of expect a longer drive most of the time too, especially if it's music related. Yeah. And then you know how it goes when you gotta do what you gotta do. So you don't really think about the drive. You just go do it.
Yeah.
Yep.
No, definitely. I get that. I mean, because living like slightly outside of LA, like it'll take me upwards of 2 hours just because of traffic to get places.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, for sure.
You get here okay today?
I did. There was no traffic today.
Are
It
you
was
safe?
absurd.
Did you make it safely?
I did. It was nice. There was no traffic.
mean,
it was beautiful.
Like she said, she lives in Chino Hills, and I'm like,
she's like deep into LA.
I'm in the valley. I'm a valley girl.
Oh my gosh, the OC.
No,
I'm the OC. She's
OC.
the Valley.
Wait, did y'all watch the OC?
No, gosh.
What the hell, guys? Come on.
Everyone always asks if we saw it or okay, because like living in Orange County. Orange County is a big county, so like whenever I moved out here, everyone would always ask me, "Oh, did you see them film the show?" I was like, "What the fuck?" But no.
Okay, I don't know if you know, but do you guys know who the Ball brothers are?
Yeah, like like Lonzo Ball and
So they
yeah.
all went to the high school I was supposed to go to. They all went to Chino Hills High School.
Okay.
So whenever I tell anyone I'm from Chino Hills, the 2 questions I get asked are, "Oh my God, do you know Lonzo Ball?" And the second question I get asked is, "Wait, isn't there that where that person won that really big lottery?" Because the Mega Millions that was won like 3 years ago, that was like the biggest one in history, was won at the 7-Eleven right down the street from my house.
Oh my
no way.
gosh.
Oh wow.
So
I would just be like, "What's a 7-Eleven?"
wait, is there another 7-Eleven?
No, we don't have 7-Elevens.
That was one of the main things I started missing too. I needed my Slurpees, you know.
Yeah,
Okay.
I always get asked about the Ball brothers, and it's really funny because I'm like, no, like I didn't even go to no. But it was really funny because I have a friend who's obsessed with them. So she would always drive down, like whenever she came to my house, she would always be screaming like LaMelo out of the car, and that's the youngest sibling, I guess. Until one day she was screaming it out of the car just to be funny. We turned a corner and he was just chilling there in his Range Rover, and she lost it. She was
my
like,
God.
"Oh my God, it's LaMelo!"
Oh
But,
my
like,
God,
I
I
don't know
see a
what's going
ball.
Well, to give people context as to where I am, I'm in North Hollywood. So if you watch the movie Clueless and that scene where she gets robbed at Circus Liquor, that's like
Yeah.
down the street from where I am.
Oh my gosh,
Wow.
no way.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean it's great living here because you know, it's not too like 10-15 minute drive on the freeway from everything. Unless there's traffic, then it's 40 minutes, you know?
Yeah.
It's insane how much traffic can affect people's drives, but
Sure.
You know, you're
sure.
from California when you start talking about traffic.
I try to stay in one location as much as possible
That makes sense.
because if the conversation can be had over the phone or you know FaceTime or something, then I'm gonna do it that way because I'm not about to drive to your house.
Yeah.
And then me, on the other hand, will drive to your house.
Because you know it's you're more
It's to be
understanding.
expected.
It's
Yeah.
more understanding for you. It's kind of more understanding for me living in the valley in North Hollywood because like I'm used to driving places, but like I wouldn't drive more than an hour. Emma would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. But my friends who live at the heart of Hollywood in East Hollywood, stuff like that, they wouldn't go anywhere unless it takes them 10 minutes. They're like absolutely not.
Yeah.
It just it's the different levels of patience you have wherever you live.
And they
So,
gotta
like,
do what you gotta
that's
do.
I'm a
Is that-
little I was a little shocked actually when I was out in Orange County last year and I have a friend that's like in a touring metal band and everything, and he was in LA and they were writing their new record, and he found out that I was in Orange County, and he was like, "Oh my gosh, Tenacious D's playing at the Palladium tonight. We gotta go."
I went to that!
No, you did not. Shut your mouth. Shut up. So my friend was like, "Oh, we're gonna have to leave really early to get there on time," and I was like, "All right, whatever, sure." And so we get in the car and we're driving to the Palladium to meet my buddy, see Tenacious D. And like he knew the promoters, whatever. So we had like VIP tickets. So I wasn't worried about a line because I was thinking like, oh, we'll just go backstage and that's how we'll get in. And we don't have to worry about a line. We literally got there an hour and a half early because I planned for Atlanta traffic and my friend planned for LA traffic. So now in my head, I'm wondering how similar it is.
Because like the way it's so weird here because it's hit or miss. It's like
it depends on the day.
You either leave 3 hours early and be an hour and a half early, or you leave an hour and a half before and be an hour and a half late.
Yeah,
like it's just so
weird.
It's weird.
Yeah, I remember at this at one point in when I was going to school, I would leave at 7 a.m. and arrive, you know, maybe 30 minutes late to my classes, but I would leave like 6:30, like not even that much of a difference. 30 minutes, 6:30, I would leave my house and I would arrive an hour early. It's very strange how traffic works. It's like it really happens in a rush.
Hey.
Nice.
Hey.
Okay.
Mine.
Anyway. So I'm actually really interested in like each of yours music backgrounds and how like if growing up different places like influenced that and how each of you got into music.
Yeah, me too.
Great
Yeah.
question, Emma.
You go for it, Mark.
That's a great question because as you can imagine, when you up and leave a place that you're kind of around and born in, it kind of can change you a little bit. So I had a lot of, and like the friends that you're around, like influences, you want to do what your friends are doing at the time. For me, it was skateboarding and stuff, right? Out in Fullerton and stuff like that, just skating around. And then I picked up a guitar, so then that was kind of fun. I just started playing by ear, and but all my other friends didn't play guitar or do anything musical. So the cool thing to do was like skateboard. So I kind of didn't touch it anymore, right? And then when I moved out here, it kind of changed because I didn't have friends in the beginning because I didn't talk to anybody. You don't know anybody, and I moved right at the middle point of 9th grade. So you got to be kidding me! I'm not gonna go.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So trying to
social life is over.
yeah. So it was a culture shock, but it was for a good cause, I guess, because there was nothing to do. I was bored as hell, and then I picked up guitar again. So I started playing again, and the internet is shit out here, so I couldn't play video games or anything online at the time. So I just rocked with guitar. I have a metal background. I used to play screamo.
Oh my god.
Interesting.
So I developed a lot of
Compared
speed
to the
with.
music that you guys play right now.
Well,
Very
yeah. Well, we're talking. For me, you're talking. This is 12 years ago, or 10 probably. And I made the switch over to singer-songwriter stuff. So because I sing and stuff as well, but so that gave me experience as well. I perform a lot at gigs and restaurants and do the whole shoot and shebang for that. So I'm just always constantly thinking about that. I went to school, got a bachelor's in just general music studies, but my primary instrument was classical guitar, and I switched over to vocal because I felt like I had a good enough understanding with guitar to take the reins on it and do my own thing with it. I wasn't interested in doing Bach and all of the classical aspects anymore. It's already been done. I'm always been interested in doing something new or something that's now and maybe modifying and innovating. But so I just started dabbling around with that, and then met Joel and Tyler. He's not here right now, but Tyler Brantley. He's also a guitar player in the band, and sound engineer for the band and stuff like that. So, like I said, we all have different traits and different backgrounds. We'll find out about Joel's in a second. But yeah, so it's, I guess, a variety. But now I'm honing in on just what we sound like now has really just caught my ear and caught my interest. And I think it's better to be consistent. So I think that's why I just have stuck with this genre, and it just brings joy to me. So yeah, I don't know if I really answered that correctly, but there you go.
No, you answered that perfectly.
Yeah.
Killed it.
Killed it. Absolutely smashed it.
Yeah, dude, you're awesome.
Wait, what's your music background? We never got to that.
Oh shoot. Well, actually, like my music background is like it's a little bit. So my mom is like a super well trained classical pianist, which is dope. But
Cool.
she is one of 9 children, and all of them play something. They all sing. So like music started really young for me growing up, and then they didn't live far from us after we moved up here. And then so every time I went over to my grandparents' house, there was like a cluster of people always playing music. And then actually one of my I feel like I need to like explain this a little bit, because some musicians do not have like a longing to be in a band. Some musicians just play music and they grow up and they're like singer-songwriters or they're soloists. And then you have like the other side of musicians that want to be in a band. And I always wanted to be in a band because of 2 reasons. The first reason is my mom's youngest sister, who is like 20-something years younger than her. In the mid-90s, a movie came out, and I don't know if you've ever seen this movie, but it's called That Thing You Do, and it has Tom Hanks in it, but Tom Hanks wrote and directed it. And it is my all-time favorite movie. And it's about a band in the 60s that formed in like a garage, and they played a talent show, and you get to see kind of their whole journey to becoming like this huge band. And that movie, the soundtrack is freaking awesome, for one thing. Like, all the original songs written for the movie are badass. But then also, like, seeing how those band members interacted with each other made like a huge impression on me. And so there was that. And then the church I went to at the time, we had like a huge outreach program where we would get a bunch of kids from outside the city limits. We would get a bus and we'd bring them to church, bring them there like 2 hours every Wednesday night before the youth service, and they would all skateboard. And they ended up building this like skate park. And at the time, I was in like 4th grade, and I'm looking at all these older kids, and they're all like so much cooler than me. And they're like, my brothers are hanging out with them, my 2 older brothers. And at the time, like, CD burning was really huge. And so they would all burn CDs, and it was like this new thing where you would go to Walmart and you would buy a CD case, and then I would have all these CDs, like all these mixtape CDs, I guess mix CDs, not really mixtapes anymore, right? I'd have all these mix CDs filled with just tons of songs. And so on the CD, you would read in like really small print what the band name was and what the song was. And beyond that, there wasn't really much at the time that you could do on the internet to look up these artists, because it was before MySpace. Before MySpace, there was this thing called like Pure Volume. And that was essentially like the only website. It was called purevolume.com. And it was before MySpace. It was before like social media. And that was what all of like the like local bands and smaller bands would upload their music onto to network with each other, kind of. Mm-hmm. And so through there, I was able to find out what some of these bands were, which is really funny because at the time, like in the late 90s, early 2000s, I had mixed CDs with Dashboard Confessional, the Get Up Kids, the Starting Line when they were like just had demos out, Newfound Glory, Taking Back Sunday. It was like all like the emo pop punk bands that you would expect like skateboarders to listen to. And I got super into it, and I actually like started trying to form my own bands when I was in like 6th grade. And I understood from that movie, that thing you do, that you needed merch, you needed merchandise. So you like, we couldn't afford records, we couldn't afford CDs, so we burn our CDs. We made these like demos at my church where we played live, and it sounded like absolute shit. But we burned like 100 copies of them. We brought them to school. We had like we would go to Walmart and buy like iron-on T-shirt things, and just iron on our band, like our logo onto T-shirts, and then hand out our CDs and make magnets for people's stupid refrigerators. But like, yeah, the band thing really took me over. But like during all that, you have to like understand that the other side of that was at the same time, like Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, pop music was at its highest, right? Go hard, like Backstreet.
Yeah, I just retweeted something that said, "What was the first CD you ever bought?" And it was the first Backstreet Boys CD. No regrets, of course.
Okay, dope. Yeah. The best one is Black and Blue in Millennium.
We would love to play one of your songs and get a little bit of like a background on it. So
let's get the background on it after we play it, I say.
Yeah, so we're gonna quote unquote play it first.
Okay.
So we would really like to play Out of the Blue first, if that's all right with y'all.
Yeah.
So without further ado, here's Out of the Blue by Twin Tides.
Conversation. It's been years and I still can't make it stop, but still I try anyway. You get get bored and you text me every now and then. Say how's life, got me thinking about you. And when you were mine and I wasn't just a thought, then out of the blue, oh yeah, I'm sitting right next to you, thinking I'm all in, baby, tell me are you? Yeah, 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 baby, tell me are you? Yeah, 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 baby, tell me. Still feels like I'm trying to wake up on the couch talking to 3 in the morning. Lucky me, now we get to catch up, fill me in on life and the obvious. So here we are like when we were young, but your hair's grown out and you're talking about love. 6 years and you had enough, you tell me you're all in and your mind's made up. Oh yeah, I'm sitting right next to you, thinking I'm all in, baby, tell me are you? Yeah, 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 baby, tell me are you? Yeah, 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 baby, tell me. There were times I let it get the best of me. Never once did I pretend not to believe. Just as I was wondering where my girl could be, I was wondering, then out of the blue, yeah, I'm sitting right next to you, thinking I'm all in, baby, out of the blue. Oh yeah, I'm sitting right next to you, thinking I'm all in, baby, tell me are you? Yeah, 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 baby, tell me are you? Yeah, 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 baby, tell me. Yeah, 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 baby, tell me
You just heard Out of the Blue by Twin Tides. I think this is our favorite song of you guys so far.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I love this song.
What if I said it wasn't, though?
Well, then you would be on board with me.
Oh, you don't like it?
I think it's interesting. I think it's it's always interesting to hear someone say their favorite song and it's different from what you like. You know what I mean? So I think it's cool. So I just appreciate anybody having a favorite anything of ours. So thank you.
Yeah, it's really of all the ones that you guys have released so far, I think it's one of my favorites, and I'm excited for the future because if your new stuff sounds like this, it's gonna be, you guys are gonna go off the charts.
Okay. Yeah. I'm
Well-
curious though because it's like obviously I'm assuming that you've heard most of them that we've released. We don't have a ton out, unfortunately, but I'm curious as to like why Out of the Blue pulled you in over others.
I think it was the beginning of it. Like, it just was slightly more,
Energetic, maybe.
yeah, a little more energetic.
And
And I
the
was just in a
melody-
mood where I needed a little bit more energetic.
I think so, but also the melody is different. You know what?
Right.
That's what brings in a lot of new listeners is when you create a melody that sounds different from other things that you've heard before, and then you're just listening to it out of nowhere. You're like, wait a second, can you, like, what's the name of the song again? Because that's the one that caught my attention.
Right. Yeah, it's been really interesting for us too because we consulted with some people after we released Risk It All, which Risk It All was our was our first release of 2019, and we were really excited about it. Mark and I wrote that here at his house, and we watched it all kind of come together, and we were very excited about it. We shot the music video, and then we released it, and we were pumped. And it's really interesting with what Spotify has done, and it's given artists the ability to kind of track the numbers ourselves instead of having to go through a label or a production company or anyone else. We can kind of see what's happening live with that. And what was interesting was Risk It All had a really slow start. It picked up like a few thousand streams the first week, And then it's like it's been steady though since then, since we released it on June 1st,
Yeah.
I believe. It's been really steady, and it's up to like almost 80,000 streams, which is cool. It's not like, you know, we're not doing like Post Malone numbers or anything, obviously. But like
Only
it's
Post
cool,
Malone
like for
doing Post Malone numbers. Is
you're right.
wild.
Like for us 80,000 we're really cool with, because that's steady, and that's more. We wouldn't have, even if we toured full time last year, we wouldn't have reached 80,000 people. And we reached 80,000. We've reached at least 80,000 people at this point with that one song. But like we consulted with a few people after we released that song. They listened to our whole catalog, and they told us like, what you guys are lacking are some like fun, upbeat songs. And so we were like, all right, well let's give this a shot. So what we did is we went and we listened to a bunch of songs that we really like and that are upbeat. And we came up with Out of the Blue. Out of the Blue, we shot the music video for, which was, that's a whole nother, we'll have to come back on it later and talk about the process of like all that, which is a crazy story. But we released Out of the Blue in August, and at first Spotify put it on a bunch of their like, you know, curated playlists, Spotify playlists. And so we were like, oh my God,
Yeah.
That
was
this
awesome.
might go this
Yeah.
might go viral. Like this might be huge for us. This might be it. It was on like some, but we did some searches, and that's when we realized like, oh, it's all the playlists we're getting put on are Norwegian, which is still sick.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, it's still awesome. Like there are people in Norway jamming out to our music, playing in the snow, listening to some summer jams.
Yeah.
And so, but then like what was weird is Risk It All kept climbing, and then slowly Out of the Blue dipped. So they kind of like went in opposite direction. So one got a slow start and climbed, and the other got a big start and then dropped. But it's interesting because that's not like our forte isn't really like upbeat music. We all grew up kind of listening to like chill emo music, and so that's kind of where we
I have in my notes here, sounds very vibey.
Yeah, it is. It's very vibey. And,
Heck yeah.
and we were all feeling that all last summer. We would like, because we do the way that our band works. I'm sure other bands work like this too, because it's 2020 is, we all have backgrounds in like music and training. Like Tyler, our other member, our guitarist, and the guy who mixes and masters all of our stuff. We went to school together and got our degrees in audio engineering. So everything that we record it, and then he mixes and masters it all. So like all last summer, it was like the first part of June, it was like I would just plugging in my iPhone and in the car just jamming out to the demo version of Out of the Blue. And then eventually it was like a little bit more polished and a little bit more polished, and then we were just jamming out to it all summer. And it was vibey, dude. Like I loved that song, and I was really like, still I think it's a really cool song.
Yeah.
But I will say this. The stuff that we have on the way is extremely vibey.
I'm excited for that.
I will
like
give you
vibey.
that. We
love
have-
vibey.
We love vibey.
We have a ton of new stuff, but it is not as peppy. I guess.
That's okay. Like
We love vibes.
yeah, it honestly, like for me, music is a matter of mood and like whatever mood I'm in. So a lot of my playlists are based off of moods. Very little
Sure.
of my playlists are genre based. They're all mood based.
Mhm.
Except for one, I do have one that's very genre based, but a lot of it is like mood. So like I have a playlist for when I'm angry. I have a playlist for when I want to relax. I have a playlist for, you know, when I want to sit out on my patio. So trust me, I
Yeah.
love vibey for sure.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully it'll make one of those playlists. Hopefully not the angry
No.
one. I don't want you being angry anymore. Okay, you start working on. Be happy. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, Emma, you don't get to be angry anymore. We're over that, right? We've talked
I
about
like
that.
you
We're
guys
through
would
it.
like my angry playlist. It's so good. It's good music, man. It's just like music that gets my adrenaline going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I'm definitely very like interested in what you guys have planned? Like, you know, it is New Year, you know, New Year, lots of, you know, you've got 12 months of just possibility, which is really great. And that's something very fun about
Yeah,
New
there
Year.
you
You
go.
have a lot to look forward to. So I guess I want to ask you guys then, you know, what are your New Year's resolutions for yourself and maybe with music as well, and like reflecting on last year and like moving forward, like what is your plan with that?
Well, you're up first. Okay. Please take this one.
I guess New Year's resolution for that. Well, no, I'm gonna be straightforward with this. Not gonna give a tangent. Being consistent. I know I have a perfectionist personality, so, but I never reach perfection. So every day is like, you know, you got to commit to what you do. And I'm starting to learn. It doesn't matter if it's perfect or good enough for myself. Some other people might find joy from it. And you never know. If you hold back on a song, then you might hold back from someone having a change happen in their life. That's a whole nother story for how music can affect moods and stuff like that. But yeah, so my resolution has just been to be consistent and you know, maybe be more open to creating ideas each day and being more organized as well. Because as you can imagine, when you create, it's a free thing, so that's awesome. But when you're free to everything, who's there to tell you that, hey, it's done?
You've got you 70 different versions of one song.
Yes.
And like
yeah.
20 of those just have a slightly different pitch on the guitar and like.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Version 1 final.
Version 1 final.
Oh my God. Yeah.
You have no idea. We have like demo.
Final.
We've got like demos, and then we go into rough, and then we go into mix, and then we go into master. So like we'll have like demo 4, and then we'll have like so I've got like my notes on my phone have like for each song I'll have like the lyrics that I type out on my notes, and then below that I save all of the audio files. So it'll be like demo 1 through 4, and then it'll be like mix 1 through 5, and then it'll be like master 1, 2, 3, and then finally we're like, you know what, Master 3 was all right, but I think we should go with Master 2, and then we argue about it for a week, and then we decide.
Yeah, especially if we don't have a name title yet. But go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I went into the studio with one of the bands that I'm managing, and it was so funny, just like listening to one of the guys do just they were trying to do like a live of his trumpet, and like he did like 4 different takes, and I think they ended up using like the first one like after all of it, because you know, it's just you get in your head about it, and like
yeah, you totally do.
Yeah, so that's a good, actually that's a more straightforward way to put it too, is just not getting in your head too much this year. Just trying, because you can see around us everyone's kind of doing that lately, or at least talking about it lately. So just being consistent and focusing on what I want to do and what we could do with it. And then with music, my goals personally for me, music is my everyday job. So that's my goals with music are my goals with myself as well, because music is me. So I'm gonna stick with that.
Oh, I like that.
How am I supposed to talk?
Well, sorry, music is not me. I don't own music, but music is a part of me. So
no, I totally understand what you're saying. I really like that. That's very well put. Now you gotta follow that. Go. No, I was kidding.
Yeah.
I mean, mine is honestly, like for me, my resolution was that I've always been a little insecure about like my weight, because I don't necessarily look like a lead singer, and I exercise all the time, but I don't ever feel like I get to where I want to be. And so my New Year's resolution this year is to get freaking ripped. I want to get ripped. And then as far as music goes, goals. Like, I don't know. I don't know if that's achievable for me or not, but I want to try. I want to push myself physically. Really, like, it's mentally for me to just motivate myself every day I get off of work to just like go for a run. Just do it. You're not going to feel better if you don't do it, but you absolutely will feel better if you do it. Do. And then
oh my God.
So like, I guess my New Year's resolution is more of like a mental and physical thing. Is just to push myself and to be the best version of myself that I can be this year. I also want to get married this year. I've been dating a super awesome woman, and she is incredible. And so I also want to like,
Just
like,
got major brownie points. Just
Yeah.
now.
yeah. Well, no, she's over there. Like, what am I
I
supposed to
know.
do? No, also, I want to get married this year. I want to start that. I'm 28 years old. I'm ready to do that. I'm getting old as hell. So I want to do that. And then as far as music goes, last year, I feel like we kind of came out of the gate strong because 2018 we released one song. We played no shows. We didn't do anything. We really didn't write anything, which is why last year was kind of slow because you spend a lot of time writing, and then you have to spend a lot of time recording, and then you have to spend a lot of time like producing and getting all the pre-production or the post-production done. And so last year we released only 2, but that was a big deal for us because a lot of the things that we wrote last year are going to come out this year. And we've got a lot of things ready to go. We've got a lot of things slotted for the next few months. And I'm so freaking pumped because it's stories and it's things about our lives that we've been wanting to like express or get out or, kind of just let go of, I guess, is, with a song, a song is kind of like a baby and it has its own life and it grows and then it kind of reaches this stage of graduation and you're just like, get out of here. Like, it's time to let you go. Get out of the nest. Get out of here. You're plaguing us. It's taking too long. So we've just decided this year that we're just going to let a lot of it go. We're just going to release as much as we can this year and probably do less writing this year and more just polishing what we already have and releasing as much as we can. And then, I assume that'll probably be the first half of the year. And then I want to play, like I want to get out there and play again. I want to get on stage. I want to network. I want to meet people. And I think that that's something that,
80% of being in a band is networking. 20% is music.
You are totally right. Yeah. You're totally right. So I think that's the resolution. And that's what you can expect from us in 2020 is just, if you aren't already following us on Instagram or Facebook, which, I would say just stick to Instagram because Facebook it just takes our Instagram posts and pushes them out to Facebook. Follow us and stay tuned. And when we go live, what's that?
What's your at?
Twin Tides Band.
Cool. For our listeners.
Yeah, straight up. Hang out with us. Follow us. We try to go live. Even if it's just
that.
Yeah,
we were live like 20 minutes before we went on this. We started doing this interview. We're like, are they good? Is this still happening?
Yeah. No, I was just like, I like to do that. I like to go on. I like to hang out with people. I like to tell them what's going on,
which is great for me because I'm super shy. So this is why. And then I'm the 20%. No. I was referring to your statistic of 80%, 20%, 80% networking, 20% music.
Yeah.
But not the saying that he's not 20% music. I love all you guys.
Amazing.
Oh my god. Those seem honestly really great goals to have for you guys with your music, and I'm really excited to see what this next year has in store for you. And I guess hey, we're winding down with this little chit chat we got going on here. So I did just want to ask you guys just a fun little question that actually let's do this first. So we do want to play a second song because we like to play 2 songs each episode.
Oh yeah, cool.
I'm assuming that one would be Risk It All because that was also your most recent release.
Yeah,
that's
dope. That
one?
Love that. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, perfect. So why don't you guys go ahead and explain the story behind that one and how it came to be?
That's actually a really cool story. There's a really long version of the story, but don't worry, Gohar. I'm only gonna go the short version. I said long version. She tenses up a little bit. She's like, oh, no, hell no.
Great, thank you.
Well, the I was just talking about wanting to get engaged this year. The girl that I want to get engaged into, get engaged to. Sorry, why?
Yes.
We actually dated, like, we met in high school, and I told her I liked her. I was 17, she was 14. I felt a little weird about that at the time, because I could drive and she couldn't, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, we dated on and off. A few years later, when she got into college, we dated a little bit. It didn't work out, but I was in love with her, and I don't think that she was ready for it. And so, like, 6 years later, she is, like, in this relationship with this guy. She's talking about getting engaged, and then she comes home to our hometown to visit her family, and she decides to come visit me one night, and basically we hit it off again, and the whole thing started over again from scratch. She broke off this relationship of
Oh my god,
4
you
years.
guys are like Jim and Pam right now.
Oh, dude, Jim and Pam got nothing on this shit, okay? So we start hanging out every day, and then eventually, things go from there, and we've been dating for almost a year again, and Risk It All was written right after she moved back home, and it was just kind of about, I've been there with her before. I've kind of gone through the motions of, like, it's kind of a risk to fall in love with someone that you've already fallen in love with, and not knowing because there's always, like, some familiarity, right? Like, if you fall in love with someone again, you're not really sure if it's because if they're actually in love with you, or it's just familiar, and and it feels safe to them. So Risk It All is a song about, like, I do not care what the reason is. If it's out of familiarity or if it's out of just pure love, I don't care, because it's worth it to me. If I get to feel that feeling again, then it's worth the risk. Like, I'd risk it all. Like, take everything. I don't care. I want that again. It's so hard to find something legit. You have to weed through so much shit now. And you have to find, like, I knew her family already, and that's the worst part about dating, is finding a family that you click with. Like, remove the person that you're falling in love with completely. If they have a piece of shit family, that's a red flag, because you're like, all right, well, obviously they're gonna whatever, but it clashes. And so for her, it was just like everything already made so much sense to begin with. I just wanted that again. Like, I wanted her. And so, like, over the course of the last few years, I had realized that one thing I couldn't do was text her every day. So I was like, I'm going to be Noah from the Notebook and send her a text every single day. And so just so she knows that I love her. But what I did do, and this speaks on the power of music, is I would make Spotify playlists.
Yes, I love that.
Every song had a purpose for being on there. Everything that I put on there was for a reason. And every few months, I would send her a Spotify playlist. I would just text her the link to it, and I would just do it. And I've got them. There's like 8 or 9 different playlists that I made over the course of the last few years. And what's dope is now we get in the car and we listen to those playlists together. And our music taste is so similar now, because over the last few years, some of my favorite songs became some of her favorite songs. And so, like, writing Risk It All was a really fun experience, because that's become one of her favorite songs. Aww. Not just because it's about her, but because there's so much there. There's so much there to fill that song with, I think, exactly what it needed to be filled with.
That's so cute. I love that. I always have this, like, joke that it's like, make me a playlist and I'll love you forever. Like, you actually did it.
Yeah, and actually, like, one of our new songs that we have coming out is about that. So that'll be, we're excited to release that too.
Too cute. This is ridiculous.
Yeah, Emma's already crying.
All right. Well. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and listen to this amazing song, "Risk It All" by Twin Tides.
find something. I've been waiting around for someone like you. Didn't take me all that long to realize I needed you. I've heard stories about love that could conquer. I've been told that kind of thing still exists. Didn't take me all that long to realize that this is it. So you can have my heart, but don't break it. We could have it all, don't mistake it. I'll make it all worth your time now. There's a chance we should take it. Even if in the end it falls apart, baby, I would risk it all. Yeah. Been a long time coming and I feel like I should say this. Now every bus stop running and you're right here next to me. You know I loved you first and the years have had their way. It's worth every minute I stray to be where I am with you. Now I believe. So you can have my heart, but don't break it. We could have it all, don't mistake it. I'll make it all worth your time now. There's a chance we should take it. Even if in the end it falls apart, baby, I would risk it all. So you can have my heart, but don't break it. We could have it all, don't mistake it. I'll make it all worth your time now. There's a chance we should take it. Even if in the end it falls apart, baby, I would risk it all. Yeah.
You just listened to Risk It All by Twin Tides. Vibey, very vibey.
We loved all the vibes, and I love the cute story behind it. That's so awesome. So I guess as just a couple little like wrap up fun, it's the new year. 2019 was a great year for music. Hopefully 2020 is also a great year. I just want to know what was your guys' favorite music from the previous year, and if there's any music you're most excited about for this year.
Of other bands as
Yeah,
well?
the
Or-
other
okay,
bands,
yeah.
and your own.
Release
Yeah,
too, dude.
I want to know.
Yeah, I was thinking about, I was doing the numbers in my head. Just kidding.
Like, wait, no,
Yeah.
like, what's some of your favorite music from last year, and if there's any artists that are releasing anything this year that you're excited about?
Personally, for me, we did play a show last year, and we played it along the lines of a band called Milk, and that was I thought I really enjoyed that.
Oh
so
my god, I love
but-
Milk.
yeah.
Ultra? Have you heard Ultra?
Oh, I thought you were making a fun.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
No,
She
I
actually knows
love
this.
Milk. I
Oh,
love
Yeah.
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 They were at the cover
love
of one
the-
of my
the-
playlists.
We didn't get to hang out with them too much. They were
Yeah,
on
so-
tour and they were in the green room a lot. Of
We
the
didn't know
time,
him
but
personally, but I thought it was a cool vibe or whatever.
It made sense as a show for sure.
Yeah, but basically, I don't know. I haven't been listening to keeping up with too much other music than that. Besides who I've been playing around with, and we came across them because of a show. So that was the main thing that caught my interest was curiosity. You know, just checking out who you're
Yep.
about to play with.
I'm being
Other than
I'm
that,
being
Black Bear all
extremely
day for me.
genuine.
But
Oh my god, Black Bear.
yeah,
I'm being extremely genuine here, but Milk is one of the best bands that I've discovered in 2019, and you guys need to listen to their EP, or is it an album? I don't know what it is, but it's fantastic.
Yeah, they've got
Ultra is one of my favorite tunes, but they're great. You should listen to their music. I think you'd like it.
We definitely will on the car
Yeah.
ride home.
Yes.
it reminds me of like Laney and stuff like that, and
Oh, I
And,
like that.
Joan too.
Oh,
but-
I was literally about to be like, have you guys listened to Joan?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I love those guys.
So we actually just shared to our Spotify page a playlist of our top picks.
I saw that.
And,
Yeah,
and it's not just the top picks of last year. Like there's some new stuff on there, but like I think for us it's more cumulative and
Yeah.
it's less about new music. And like for me, a song is really a good song when you can beat the hell out of it and listen to it and it holds and it withstands. So like some of the songs, like a new one that I was really vibing to this past year was I Think I'm Okay. By Machine Gun Kelly and Youngblood and Travis Barker. If you haven't heard that song, dude, that song freaking smack. I'm going through this playlist. Like 93 Punks was one for me. He's like a hip hop rapper from Chicago. Okay,
Yeah.
so sick. Obviously the new Bon Iver that came out last year. Bon Iver is my all-time favorite artist. I love Bon Iver. That's about as new as I got. Cold War by Cautious Clay was
I love Cautious Clay.
Yeah, they're great.
yeah.
I love Cold War too.
And then this band called Twin Tides was doing some pretty cool stuff last year too. So check that out.
I
I
heard.
don't think
I
I've heard
of
of them. They've got a couple bangers out.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, they've got a few. Yeah.
My other New Year's resolution is to get on Gohar's playlist cover. Or maybe for 2021, we'll talk about it. 2021, please.
When your next release comes out, let me know. I'll put you guys on there.
Okay, no obligation, no pressure.
No.
I'm just
Well,
kidding.
I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for like talking to us and taking the time, and just any last thing you guys would like to say, maybe what's in store for you guys this year, and all of that.
I would just say that we pay like a monthly subscription to have a website. So if anyone wanted to go to www.twintidesband.com, you're more than welcome to. But
You guys have a really nice website. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
I
very
enjoyed
clean.
it. It's very clean.
thank you. Yeah. It's pretty cool. Someone really special designed and made that.
I like your logo too. The Twin Tides logo.
Oh yeah, the little circles.
Yeah.
Yeah. That
Your
one's
website
cool.
was
That
open
was
on my laptop, so I was like, it's just.
oh yeah. A friend of ours made that, and it's like it's a pretty cool logo. Look at the waves that continue throughout,
Yeah, like tides.
like tides, right?
2 of them.
Well,
Guys, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
like
thank
this has
you.
been fun to be able to not only like meet you guys, but to talk about music and to just honestly just to hang out.
Yeah.
thanks.
Yeah.
I wish you guys weren't so far away. Otherwise, I'd be like, hey, let's go get coffee.
Yeah,
let's
let's
go to
grab
a
a coffee.
show. Like,
Let's go get some matcha.
Matcha.
I'm getting one tomorrow. Take it out the house.
well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah,
You guys
tell
have been
the
great.
people where they can find you. Instagram, website one more time.
Yeah, Instagram is Twin Tides Band. We do have a Twitter and we do have a Facebook. You can just search both of those for Twin Tides, and then also our website is twintiesband.com. And we would encourage you to check us out on Spotify. Spotify is super, super great to their artists, and they take care of us and they help us out a lot. So check us out, please. We would love that.
Awesome.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much.
Yeah.
This has been Unmastered, and we will see y'all next week or whenever the heck we do another episode.
Next time.
Next time.
Yeah.